All right, what have we talked about? Oh, yeah, so I started reading up on all this stuff about the war with the Japanese, and I didn't realize, do you know there was like three Japanese soldiers that didn't surrender until 1974? One of them wasn't aware that the war wasn't over. We'll call him Bill. The other two guys knew the war was over, but they were like, I'm not standing down until the Grand Poobah tells me to, because that's what I was told when I went. They just were like Dudley Do-Rights. Stayed in the woods for an extra 30 years. In their uniform, their guns still worked. They still had ammunition. Well, of course you did. The war is over. And every once in a while, they'd run into some local fishermen, and they'd take shots at them. And local fishermen were just like, come on, man. Let it go, man. It's over. They would drop leaflets in there, and they were reading them, and they thought it was a trick. Oh, my God. Just sitting out there fucking eating squirrels for 30 goddamn years. You know, best friends like a fucking... What would you be friends with out there? I don't know. I'll give you the link to that shit before I just butcher it anymore. If anybody else knows any really good books about World War II where it's really balanced... Because I read a few. I read this one that was great. I read The Rape of Nanking a long time ago. I read this Hiroshima Diary about this guy who was in that city when the bomb hit. I read another one. I like those first part, like people who were there. I read one time about this Jewish kid who was on the run with his dad. It's a classic, too. I forget what the fuck it was called. I'm such an idiot. But at one point, he was kind of looking at his dad, and he was just like, just die already. Because he was, I don't know, was slowing him down or something. He has guilt about that shit. It was fucking unreal. Actually, it's kind of depressing when you think about it. But, who gives a shit? Hey, I got all caught up on Breaking Bad. I didn't have AMC in my hotel, so I came here and just binge-watched all fucking 3 of them. Jesus Christ. Is that the greatest fucking show ever? I don't want to overhype it, but it's fucking insane. I'm not going to talk about. I should have said right out of the bat that I'm not going to say anything that happens in them. But I didn't think anything was going to beat The Wire. I guess I put them on par because The Wire, just the size of the subject and how many different angles they hit it from. But as far as keeping your stomach in absolute fucking nuts. I don't know if I ever saw a show like this one, man. It's kind of funny because I always have like quick little scenes in them, and that's all they would ever give me is just like the little scene. So I don't know what's going on, which is kind of perfect because my character doesn't need to know what is going on and wouldn't know. Right? Saul would just call me up and say, "Hey, just fucking do this," and I'd be like, "All right." So I always end up watching the episodes. I'm like, oh, that's what the fuck that was for. That happened this week. All right. So, anyways, hey, how about the Red Sox, huh? Coming out to L.A., beating the fucking Dodgers. I would have loved to have gone to a game down there and not wore any Red Sox shit because fucking L.A. fans are such fucking psychopaths. Well, maybe they wouldn't have beaten me because I wasn't there with my children. Fucking pieces of shit. Good God almighty. You know, I don't know what the fuck, I don't know what happened out here. I don't get it. I don't get why that extra level, that gangbanger vibe is out here. There's gangs every fucking city. Are these like, in L.A., are like these the only, or Southern California, I should say, because I felt that vibe at a Chargers game, too. Like, is this like the only part of the country where gangbangers are into, like, sports, too? You know? You think you get some hard looks at a fucking Knicks game. You don't. Everybody's there having a good time. I don't understand it. I think it has something to do with neck tattoos. Once you get the neck tattoo, I'll tell you what's fucked up. When I was in New Orleans, I saw 2 guys with face tattoos, and I couldn't believe how unshocking they were at this point. I've seen so many people with face tattoos at this point. This guy literally had one right in the middle of his forehead, and it wasn't a good one. You know? Jesus Christ. I thought I was dedicated to being a comedian or whatever. You put a tattoo on your face. I mean, that you've limited yourself to either working in a tattoo parlor or doing just illegal shit. Right? That's kind of a good way, you know, if you ever think that you don't have the balls to stop following the herd, just get a nice, you know what? Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want to suggest that you get a fucking face tattoo. Please don't do that. Can you please not do that? Did I mention I was at the University of Cincinnati last night, Saturday night? By the time you get this, it'll be 2 nights ago. I want to thank everybody for having me out there. What a fucking beautiful school that is. Absolutely gorgeous, man. I love those. They have like the perfect size football stadium, and it's like built down in it, so into the campus, you know. So you come walking by, and it's really open, like you can just walk right into it. Had that same vibe like when I went down to Florida State. How like the students can like, you know, run the stairs if they want to. I love that shit. I hate when you go to those places and they got the stadiums like all locked up. I was surprised when I went to Boise. You know, and I was trying to look at the blue turf. I saw a little bit of it, that the whole stadium was just locked up like that. I figured Boise's a cool place, right? What are you worried about? The meth heads coming in, stealing the aluminum benches? Is that what it is? It probably is. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Rolling Stone magazine for putting me on the cover this month. It finally happened for me. That was a big moment in my career. We'll definitely have a link. I know a lot of people don't read magazines at this point, so it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal to me, finally being on the cover of Rolling Stone. Actually, I have no idea who that kid is, but it fucking freaked me out when I saw it. All right. What am I talking about here? What do I got here? Huh? What am I going to go do the... Let's read one of these things here. Why don't we do that? Why don't we read a little fucking letter? Full moon, Mr. Burr. You mentioned something about the full moon in last week's podcast and how it causes strange behavior. I worked in an emergency room for 3 to 5 years, and when I started working there, I thought the theory was bullshit. He actually said bull. I don't want to make this guy sound crass. He goes, I now know it to be true. Every month during the week of the full moon, we get a surge of patients. Other than the plethora of fatties that clog our department. He spelled it plethora. We get weirdos. Example, a one-legged schizophrenic man with a suitcase of knives and a butane torch. I don't even know why. Other than the weirdos, though, we have a lot of really sick patients coming. There are more strokes, heart attacks, and other serious health-related issues. I have recently heard a theory on why this is from another healthcare professional. Well, thank God you went in this direction, buddy, because I thought for half a fucking second you were going to put this in my lap. All right, because I have no clue about any of this shit. All right, what do we got here? He goes, I too take a lot of what I hear as fact. All right, the theory is this. Even our blood has its own tide. Jesus Christ. Why don't I read up on science? This is like better than any fucking movie. Just the truth. What do you mean it has its own tide? When it goes out, is that when I get lightheaded? Is that what you're talking about? He goes, this may be minuscule. I love that you're spelling all these words wrong and you fucking work in an emergency room. But the lunar pole on our bloodstream can cause a person with health/heart problems to be at a higher risk for stroke/heart attack. It can also cause behavioral changes because of the change in our bodily function, Whether this is true or not, I cannot deny 3.5 years of dealing with hell every week the full moon appears. Thanks for the free entertainment and the laughs. So that's really interesting. So, like, if that's true, so when there's a full moon, that's like when society's like menstruating. That's our once a month. Like everybody just acts like a fucking maniac. A one-legged schizophrenic with a suitcase full of knives and a butane torch. Jesus Christ, doesn't that sound? That sounds like what the fuck was that movie Mickey Rourke was in that looked like a cartoon, but it wasn't. Jessica Alba had the chaps on, and she was a stripper, but she still looked like you could have her as a girlfriend. And then there was that guy with the yellow head and the red eyes. For some reason, remind me of the guy who played Beretta. Do you know I saw him when I was out here? I saw Robert Blake. That's a hell of a thing, run into a guy who fucking killed somebody. Or did he get off? I don't know. He fucking did it. Jesus Christ. You go into a Spaghetti Freddy's, you go to take a piss, and all of a sudden your girlfriend's shot in the head, and nobody saw anything, and you found her. Come on.